Hi, I'm Ben, and I'm going to be talking about modeling. I'm going to start off by making a cube. In general, when you're modeling, you want to start with simple shapes and add more detail to them as you go. So let me just scale this up real quick. One of the most useful tools in modeling is the Insert Edge Loop tool. You can find that under Edit Mesh Insert Edge Loop tool. And what it does is it basically inserts a loop of edges. And these edges help you define detail on your model. You can select the whole edge by double-clicking on one, and then you can say scale them or rotate them to help define your model. Another thing that they do is when you smooth your model, you'll see that it turns into a blob. That may or may not be what you want. If it's not what you want, then you can use your Insert Edge Loop tool, and you can add more edge loops near the parts that you want to stay hard edges, and that will help the model hold its shape when you smooth it. Now I like to do that stuff last because the extra edge loops tend to get in the way. So let me undo all of that. Another useful thing I do is to since since um since a lot of your models are going to be symmetrical, what I like to do is just cut the model in half. I only model one half of it, and then just duplicate it later, and you'll have your full model. So the way I do that, I go to Edit Mesh, and I go to where is it? The Cut Faces tool. You want to click on the option box right here. Now I want to cut on the YZ plane. If you look in the lower left corner of your viewport, there's this little thing that shows you the axes. I want to cut on the YZ plane. And I want it to delete the faces when it cuts them. So let me cut those. And now let's cut the faces for me. So now I can model my one half of the model. So another useful tool is the Extrude tool. So what you want to do is you want to select the face that you want to extrude. You go to Edit Mesh, Extrude. And what that does is it extrudes that face for you. You can pull it out and do all sorts of things with it. A useful shortcut is the G key on your keyboard. If you hit G, then it redoes the last thing you did. So in this case, when I hit G, it extruded the thing again. So it might be difficult for you to visualize what your whole model looks like when you only have half of it. So what I do is I go to Edit, Duplicate Special. You want to click on the option box. You want to set geometry type to instance, and then you want to see which axis you want to mirror across. In our case, it's the x-axis because that's the half that's missing. So we set the x scale to -1, and then we hit up, and then hit Duplicate Special. Now, since we set the geometry type to instance, we'll see that whatever we do to one half will automatically get applied to the other half. So now we have our basic crappy stick figure going. Let me make this a bit wider. And we can use the Insert Edge Loop tool to add more definition to his arms, so they look more like arms and not like boxes. Oh, that's not good. There's an extra face here that I need to get rid of. I think his arms need to be longer. A useful thing to do is to swap back and forth between smooth mode and polygon mode. This helps you make sure that what you're doing doesn't look bad when you smooth it out before you render. In general, you want to model in polygon mode. So yeah, that's my model. And now to put it back together, I select both halves, and I go to Mesh, and then Combine. And that puts both of them together. But if you look at it, but if you look at the vertices near the center, there are actually two of them. So what you want to do is go back to Object Mode, and select the whole thing, and go to Edit Mesh, and Merge. And that merges all the vertices down the center. And now you have your full model. Hi, I'm Ben, and I'm going to be modeling a car. So one of the nice things that you can do in Maya is to import image planes. And these image planes are basically just images that you already have somewhere, and then you can basically just use them as guides while you're modeling. So what you want to do is, in your orthographic viewports, you go to View, Image Plane, Import Image. And you find your image. And you do that for each of your orthographic views that you have images for. So now you might notice that they're not all the same size. So the way we fix that is we select each image plane, and in the channel box, where it says width and height, you set that to the dimensions of the image. So I already have these written down, so I'll just punch those in real quick. So now they're all the same size, but another problem that we see now is that they all meet in the middle, which makes it difficult to see our model. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move them out of the way with these image center attributes. And another thing that I like to do is, if you select these and you go to the attribute editor, I like to turn the color gain down to about half, so that this makes the image planes not as bright, so you can see your model more easily. So now we can start modeling. I'm going to start with the cube. And in general, you just want to fit what you have to the images as best you can, and then go in and add more edge loops to add more detail, and then fit that as best as you can, and you just repeat that over and over. So I'm going to go to vertex mode to adjust this more easily. I'm also going to go ahead and cut this in half and mirror it so that I don't have to model both sides. The way you do that is go to Edit Mesh, Cut Faces tool. You want to click on the option box here. And we want to cut on the YZ plane. If you look in the lower left corner of your viewport, it shows you where the axes are. I want to cut in the YZ plane. I wanted to delete these faces after it gets cut. So now we cut them. And then we go to Edit and then Duplicate Special. We click on the option box. And we want to make sure geometry type is set to instance. And then in our mirror axis, which in this case is X, we want to set that scale to -1. So now we hit Duplicate Special, and then we have both halves of our car. So now I'm going to add some edge loops in so that I can extrude out the top of the car. So now we put those edge loops in, and now I'm going to select this face and extrude it upwards. And now we fit it to the image. Something else I'm going to do for now is to delete the bottom faces so they don't get in the way. We're probably not going to see them anyway later on, so. Also, something to be aware of when you extrude is that it will make faces on all sides of that face that you extrude. So it'll make this face here that you're probably not going to want. So I'm going to grab that and get rid of that. So now it's already starting to look a bit like a car. We can add more detail now to smooth it out. So I go to Edit Mesh, Insert Edge Loop tool. I'm going to add some loops here to help define the hood a bit better. And really, what you want to be doing is just matching the image as best as you can. More edge loops. So now I have the wheel well shape roughly defined. I can just grab the faces here and just extrude them inwards. You can grab these faces here and delete them. Now to get the door shape, I'm going to grab all the faces on the side of the car. And then I'm going to extrude them and scale them inwards. Since that's not exactly the shape we want, we can then go back to vertex mode and we adjust it manually. So now if you look at our car, it kind of pulls some vertices, the scaling pulls some of the vertices where we don't want them. So now I have to go back in there and pull them back out. So I'm going to extrude the windshield a bit, just to give it the edge to make it stand out. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the side windows. So some things to note that I probably should have mentioned sooner. The the tool that pops up after you extrude things, um, if your faces are oriented at some weird angle, then these are probably not going to do what you expect. So what I like to do is just use the normal move and scale tools instead of that one. And now for the rear. So building this wheel well is going to be a little tricky. What I'm going to do is use the interactive split tool on the edit mesh to help build the polygons I need to to extrude out the wheel well. And then something about the split tool is that it likes to snap to things, and sometimes that's a little annoying. So I'm going to turn that down here. If you click on this little wrench icon here for tool settings, it'll pop this up. And you can turn the magnet tolerance down so it doesn't snap as much. And now we've made polygons that aren't quads anymore. So I'm gonna insert some more edges to make them quads. The split tool made some vertices that aren't exactly on top of each other. So I'm going to go to select both of them, go to Edit Mesh, and Merge Vertex to make them one vertex. So now we have a shape that looks basically like a car. So now I'm going to add in some wheels. Now the wheels themselves aren't on my drawing, so I'm just going to make something up. An easy way that I find to insert edge loops on the end of a cylinder is to grab the vertex here, and you want to hit this button for chamfer vertex. It'll convert that vertex to a face, and then now since these are all quads, you can insert edge loops with no problems. Since we're not going to see the other side of the wheel, I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. And an easy way to just grab all these faces at once is to select the vertex in the middle, then hold down Shift and right click. Shift and right click. Not Shift and right click. Control and right click. And then you convert your selection to faces. And that'll grab the faces and then you can just delete them. So now I have one basic wheel, and I'm just going to duplicate it to make the other ones. So now the basic the car body. We want to put these together. So we go to select both halves. We go to Mesh, Combine, and then we go to Edit Mesh and Merge. So it merges all the vertices down the center. And there's your basic car.